Welcome back to what is episode 3 of this series, which I call the Nostalgia series. The Nostalgia series, which is fragrances that I wore in the 90s. And I'm trying my best to piece together my memory, because my memory is really bad, but I'm trying my best to piece it together and bring it to you in chronological order of a fragrance journey. We started off episode 1, as you may have seen, with Drakkar Noir. If you haven't, check that out. We followed that with Havana by Aramis, a surprising choice for someone who's like 16, 17 years old. And then we get to the next one, which is episode 3. But before we get into that, I just wanted to mention and to reiterate why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because I was reading this book, which again is this book here is Axioms and Digressions by author called Tiger Mask, and the marketing copy says, finally, a book that reads you in return. So it kind of does, because I'm looking at Axiom number 17, which says, technology advanced faster than wisdom, and hindsight shook its head. It gets you thinking a little bit about that, in that we're running really, really fast, and we rarely sort of think that, you know what, in order to, we always often think that progress is to move forwards, and good progress is to move forwards quickly. And we rarely think that we should be maybe being a little bit more wise in our steps, and that slowing down a little bit might be beneficial for humanity, society, yourself in general. And that's why when we look back at things and go, ooh, how did we ever make such bad decisions in the past? I'm sure we've learned from that and we won't make them in the future. And yet we continue to run even faster to probably get less of what we're after. Poetic, isn't it? But it brings me to this list and this series of videos because I'm being nostalgic and I'm thinking I'm growing my collection at a rapid pace. And am I going to be able to enjoy all of these? Or am I going to look back in a few years' time going, well, you made a terrible decision buying all of those fragrances and not being able to enjoy them. You're not going to be able to link these fragrance profiles to certain times, to certain events in your life, like you have done with the initial journey into fragrances that you had, starting from the late 80s and progressing and sort of expanding in the 90s, especially after the mid 90s as well, when I'd grown into almost adulthood. So I'm bringing these back, and I'm questioning when I bring them back. In my mind, I'm thinking, are these still relevant? Are they any good still? I mean, a lot of these fragrances are still in production today. They might be pretty good. That must mean that they're pretty good. Or are they just being produced for the sake of being produced, because that's what the contract with the manufacturer says that it needs to be done. And then once that's over, then they discontinue it. And then we find out that it's been discontinued, and then we praise it in online sort of review websites, and then we lament that it's gone, and we say, oh, they should have never discontinued it, this was the best scent ever. And then they bring it back, but it's been reformulated and no one likes it, and so everyone goes hunting for the originals, which isn't the case with this one. Even though it has been reformulated, it's been done okay. It's been done pretty well. It just lacks the depth of the original. And I don't think it has enough of a particular type of note that sets it apart from other sweet fragrances. And the fragrance that I'm talking about today is this one. It is Pi by GIVENCHY. Now this is a 1999 bottle. And I believe I did have my original 100 ml in 1999 as well. And I've, crazily enough, wore it through a summer. It's just really stupid, but it certainly works wonders in filling a room if you wear this in the summertime. And I'm going to spray myself with this and be taken back to that time where I foolishly choked everybody out in the room, because this was that beast back in the day. Let's put it here. I'll put it there. Okay, here we go. That was the biggest letdown. Hold on. Yeah, that's better. good atomizer. And little thing here, what do you call this? King Charles? No? Prince Charles? No, not Prince Charles. Ooh, here we go. Okay, mandarin up top. You could already smell the almond, that sort of marzipan-y almond. And that's sort of what set it apart. It was that benzoin, that rush of deep sort of benzoin, spicy tonka and almond with that bit of mandarin just at the top there. And it still hung around even after the opening. That was a mad citrus. Oh, and it went so well. Oh, Lord. Okay, so this is the depth that I was talking about, which I have tested the newer formulations. They smell very similar to this, but they're a lot more sweeter than this. Somehow this is sweet without being sweet. You know what I mean? Like you can tell it's sweet, you know it's sweet, but it doesn't punch you in the face and sort of make you go like that sweet. It sort of just envelopes you. You know, it just comes around you like a cloud almost, right? But it's there. And the fact that this was quite sweet, back in the day, it was actually quite sweet in 1999 for a fragrance, especially coming off a Havana by Aramis, which is really bitter. And to go to this, which was really sweet. And I think the reason why I'm wearing this top is because I may have bought this in the same year, and the fragrance itself reminds me of this. It feels like this top. It feels like this sort of nice, comfortable, warming turtleneck. It's even almost similar hue. So going off that, I'd probably say that yes, this is still relevant today. And going back to that time of like the late 90s heading into Y2K, which was the big fear of everybody, which was just made up hype at the end of the day, which made a lot of people very rich and made a lot of people very scared. But Prince became popular because it was 1999 again, but Prince is always popular. And the good times that we were having, a lot of countries had sort of just started to modernize and come out of long sort of periods of turmoil and things like that, especially back home where I'm from. And we were able to go and spend time with family there. There was a lot of peace around the world at that time. It was pre 9/11, I believe. And there was really no major conflicts going on, and people were kind of relaxed for the first time in a long time, because it was the end of the really, really boring 90s. The 90s was very boring because of the fact that we had no major sort of conflicts going on around the world. And yeah, other than maybe like, a dot-com bubble in it, rising up, and Y2K coming to destroy us all, we had to make a boogeyman up to actually scare us into doing something. There really wasn't much going on. And so people were just, I guess, focused on just having a good time and enjoying themselves. And that's what I remember. And that's what this comes back to me into, because this was like my going out scent. And we went out without a care in the world. There was not that much trouble going on, as I recall. And things were great. And the thing is, when you look back at, nostalgia, and you always look back with sort of rose-colored glasses, which, make things appear nicer than they used to be. And maybe today we might look back in 20 years' time and think that, 2021, those were the days, and I'm sure that's going to happen. But I doubt there'll be a fragrance like this to go along with it. It's a shame, really. But I think if you're lucky, you might be able to score one of these original bottles with a smaller pi symbol at the bottom instead of the large one that sort of covers the front bit here. But then don't be shy in actually going and getting yourself one of the newer bottles as well. They're still really cool. They're still really good. They just don't have the depth. And if you haven't smelled the original, then you don't know what you're missing, and it doesn't really matter. But if you have smelled the original and you've got memories tied to that scent profile, your memories are going to seem less clear, funnily enough, and less enjoyable. So here I am smelling my wrist, going back in time. It puts a smile on my face, yes, but again, this fantastic scent, I recommend it. It feels like what this looks like. Warm envelope of warmth. Warm envelope of warmth. Yes, I'm good with the words, apparently. So once again, thank you for watching. If you haven't seen the previous couple of episodes, click on something, it'll take you there and you'll watch the previous episodes. If you want to check out my channel, there's a bunch of videos and fragrance reviews there as well. And as always, I like to take a little bit of a philosophical approach to doing reviews like this, because fragrances and philosophy, I think they're sort of tied together, because philosophy is always about looking inwards, and the fragrance always helps you to look inwards, and it takes you inwards on an inwards journey. Some people like to project, but I like to look inside and think about, you know, myself. And I wear fragrances for myself, and so should you. You shouldn't really wear fragrances for other people. You should be yourself, and other people will actually notice that much better than someone smelling you from across the room and thinking, wow, you smell great. On the surface that might seem nice, but really inside is what really counts. But there we have it. GIVENCHY Pi. Beautiful scent, and my third fragrance that I wore in the 90s. So thank you very much for watching. I realize I haven't made this in chronological order because I'm at 1999 already. But it doesn't really matter, because I don't have to do this in order. So anyway, thanks for watching once again. I do appreciate everybody who comes and leaves a like or leaves a comment. If you want to engage and, you know, let me know what kind of fragrances that you wore back in the day, in the 90s especially, and even if you weren't alive in the 90s and your back in the day was in the 2000s or even the 2000s and 2010s, let us know. We'll be happy to have a chat down here in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching.